Welcome to Café Con Leche
with Liz
and Lil. Hey. She's got a haircut and she's ready to do this thing. Are you ready to do this thing, Alyssa?
I'm ready to do this, queen. Yes.
We have two amazing ladies with us today, two dancer extraordinaires. We have Nina Lafarga and Amanda Castro, and we're so excited to get into it. So we're going to get into it right away. Here we go.
Let's do it.
Welcome to Café Con Leche, ladies.
Hey,
welcome.
Yay.
Oh my goodness. Welcome. Miss Nina, Miss Amanda. We have a number of questions for you. We're going to talk we're just going to watching chat. It's going to be great. But the question that we start with every time with everyone, well, except for that first time where we ask halfway through, but this time at the beginning, how do you like your cafe? Do you like it light? Do you like it sweet? Do you like it dark with a little sugar, like that night you spent with your first love under the stars?
Amanda?
I like, speaking of, there's barely any in here. I like mine very, very dark with a lot of sugar. A lot of sugar. It has to be strong. It has to kick. It has to last.
Yes.
But it is good. That is how I take it every morning.
Yes.
Miss Nina?
I these days I drink it black. That's it. I didn't used to. I used to be a very light and sweet girl.
Yeah.
And once a friend was like, you should try this black. And at first I was totally underwhelmed. And then I tried it a couple more times and then it wore on me. And I was like, then I can't imagine, I just crave it now black. It's just, I just taste the coffee. It gives me the kick. It feels hearty. It feels like, less dessert, like sweetie and more just strong. And so that's how I like it now. But
I'm hoping to get there soon. Yeah, I'm hoping to get there soon to where I'm just yes, I just want it black because I'm on this diet right now that strips out all the sugar and whatever. And I used to be I would like this much milk and this much coffee and that much sugar. I would a little coffee with my milk. But now I can't drink milk like that anymore. And I can't, so I have to basically have it black. I have it black with a little bit of Cool Whip in it. But it's so bitter because Cool Whip actually has very few calories, you guys.
Wow.
And so
Answers.
I know 2 tablespoons of Cool Whip, but it's still so dark compared to the way that I used to drink it. And I'm still getting used to it because I'm only on week 3 of this.
Yes,
so
week 3.
I can't wait till this is top of week 4, Thursday. It's top of week 4. She's 13 pounds down. Woo!
Hey.
But yeah, I'm waiting for that moment, for the moment where I'm yes, I just crave my black coffee. Num, 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 num. Not there yet.
Yeah, we keep having these conversations with everybody about, we were with Henry and Claudia recently and talking about the amazing Cuban coffee that Claudia also makes. And I'm also I have every allergy in the world, and I'm in the process of also an elimination diet to see what else am I allergic to. And I've been supposed to be having my coffee black or splashes of coconut milk in it, but it's not the same. So just for these interviews, I'm doing it my normal way, but I'm in that transition.
She's loophole.
Right.
It's for work.
It's for work.
Yes. So where are you guys coming from right now? I know there's so much craziness in the world, but also I think I'm hopeful, and I think many of us are hopeful that some beautiful change is going to come out of some of this craziness. But where are you right now? Where have you experienced, gone through this pandemic, and how has that been making you feel?
I'm calling in from Washington Heights. But yeah, I've been here for the majority of the time. I was born in Brooklyn and my family's from New Haven, Connecticut. And it felt like the beginning of the end and the end of the beginning when the pandemic started. It was really hard for me because I am a big family girl. Like, I was like, Ma, why am I out here? But at the same time, I was like, why am I gonna be over there? But yeah, no, there was a moment in time where I had to take a severe quarantine, like not even going out to get groceries, not even because there was like family members going through a few things at home, health-wise and stuff like that. And we needed to convene, which I have learned so much about myself. But yeah, those are the two places that I've been navigating, at least location-wise, throughout all of this. But I am happy to be home in my apartment.
And I've been mostly in New York. I live in Astoria.
Nice.
And when the pandemic or the shutdown happened, pandemic began, I was home, same here in Astoria. And it was obviously very traumatic and difficult for all of us. And there was the period of like not knowing where I should be. You know, I have family here. I'm from Miami. I have family there. So just sort of figuring out what was going on. But I definitely felt initially like I needed to stay here. I have my home. I felt safe here. My mom is nearby. So I was here for the first two and a half months. And same, like did a very strict, cautious shutdown. I mean, there was a period of time where I was like, I don't think I actually left my apartment and was doing only online ordering and like, you know, just for many of my own reasons. I mean, you know, I wanted to be better safe than sorry. And I wasn't a show when everything shut down. So, you know, and then for like 2 weeks, I was in Delaware with family, which was nice. It was nice to get away and be with family and sort of be quarantining with family finally, as opposed to being by myself. So that was a nice break to just sort of get out of the city. And now I'm back.
Yeah, I love it. There have been so many moments where we were like, oh, maybe we'll go stay with family over here, family over there. And for us, it just never seemed like the right time, or, you know, because my husband is a nurse and he works at a hospital. So we're basically always on a super quarantine right now. I very rarely go outside, although ever since the protest started, I'd be like, fuck it. But I probably shouldn't swear, huh? But
when Luis was on here, it was the F word everywhere. So
I'm sure.
Listen.
So it was you know, because everybody's just been like doing what they want, but I'm like, look, my husband works at a hospital, and while he is not on a COVID floor, he is actively exposed to people who are working on COVID floors. And so I'm like, I assume that I have had it or have it or will have it. So I just, you know, it's yeah, it just never seemed, because, you know, all of our family has kids, or some people are living with older parents, or so it just didn't. So I envy you the opportunity to go and spend some time with family, because this seemed like a good time, like once you quarantined for 2 weeks and you felt good about it, to like go and be like, everything has slowed down. I don't have to be at a rehearsal. I don't have to be at a show. It's not starting. I don't have two that are overlapping. I don't have anything but me and you guys. And that, I love that for you. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
It's I was saying the same thing. My mother's a nurse as well. So it's that weird thing of I came back from a contract and then my lease was ending. And then I forgot about, I was supposed to go to Florida and then I got stuck there because I got there and then the city shut down. I was like,
oh my God.
What's happening?
Wow.
But then since coming back, I've gotten to spend time with my mother and whatnot. But, you know, it's crazy as, you know, the gear, and she's in maternity, but, you know, a lot of their patients are COVID positive and like they're navigating through pregnancy now and stuff like that. And it's interesting. It's, you know, everything has changed. Everything is changing. Not just our industry, but I mean, we got the announcements today, I think, right? Today or yesterday, about the the plans to start to move into the next phases, but still phase 4 for New York is not happening for a while. So I don't know. Yeah. How do you, in navigating this, I know we've commented a little bit, but and especially about like learning about yourselves during this time, have you found that the arts have served you in a certain way in terms of just being therapy, or have you found that you needed to take a step back from the arts altogether during this time?
You go first, Nina.
Okay. That's a good question. I've had different phases and different ways I can answer that question. I'll start to say that what I have discovered is that, I mean, I've managed to sort of begin to reconnect to, well, I started dancing first when I was very, very young. Like in a matter of training and performing, dance was the first thing. So it's definitely a big part of my identity, my soul. It's very much a part of who I am, how I express myself as a human, like as a child, as an adolescent. Like it was always a form of therapy for me, even growing up as a young person before professional, making money, things like that. So what I realized is that through this, I've been able to sort of reconnect to that part of myself, because like, I'm like in my living room, like by myself, you know, taking dance classes, putting on music, freestyling, improving, like in ways that I didn't do before. I mean, I've always danced a lot, but you know, it's different. If I'm at an audition, I'm at a rehearsal, I'm even collaborating with a friend or putting myself on tape for something, there's always like like subconsciously, there's always an eye on me on some level. So what's been great for me is to sort of just like be like, how do I feel like moving today? And what do I need today physically? And I can make that up every day. And so, you know, it's just been a really creative time for me personally to sort of like explore that part of myself. And it is therapy. I mean,
I love that.
And yeah. So I think that's a big one for me.
I think that's so true, that there's always that you always feel that eye. That is absolutely true. I love that. I love that freedom that you're expressing. That's so wonderful. You know, in a time where we all kind of feel like we're trapped, you're finding a way to find freedom, which is brilliant.
Trying, right? We have to. I mean, there aren't very many options these days, right? So it's like, go, yes, ambulance, praying. Yeah,
It's good.
yes, prayers.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like go insane or figure out a way to like, you know, take the crazies and like make something with yourself. But yeah, so I find that to be really great. And then, you know, like when people have reached out here and there for videos, you know, as I'm sure some of us are doing, you know, various singing this, you know, speaking that for different companies and organizations to, you know, sort of help. I'm doing some of those here and there, and those are fulfilling too. So
What about you, Miss Amanda?
Oh, it's been a journey. Yeah, you know, I'm a dancer first. I always say that it's the thing that called me. Like I had a lot of energy in my kitchen, and my mama said, we got to put you somewhere. What is this? So I've always danced. My father's a Latin percussionist. I've always had an affinity and love for tap dance. And he would be like, okay, mama, here's the cowbell, do this. And I'm like, what? Like as a child, I would always have a hard time, but I could always play with him and relate with him through tap dance. And I realized in my journey as a dancer, I always come back to tap dance being my home. That's my home base. So at the beginning of quarantine, I was in the city already. I had booked a few jobs. They all got canceled. Tap shows. And yeah, quarantine. And it's the one thing when I'm sad, I like to tap dance. Like that's the one thing that that settles me. It's the thing that settles me. You know, so I was desperate one day and I said, if I put my little tap board in the corner for like 10 minutes, I live on the 6th floor, walk up. That didn't go very well. I got cursed out through the floor. There was a notice. It wasn't even that long. Granted, it wasn't even that long, and it was very, very light, and I had socks on my shoes. It was so quiet, like quieter than I know how some of my community goes in their apartments. But yeah, no, and then there was a notice in my email, and then there was a paper notice, but like, this was all days after this one incident, but then I'm like, maybe it wasn't just me, to whom it may concern, but I'm like, it was probably me. But then I realized I had access to my roof, and I could bring my tap board to the roof, but then at the same time, weather permitting, that was the only time I could go to the roof, because if it was raining or if it was misty, that ruins the texture of the wood, it ruins the shoes. But yeah, I will say it's been hard for me. I've gone in and out of movement. I am a very, very big mover, and the online class situation is very hard for me. I thrive on the physical experience. This may sound gross, but I want to feel you sweat with me, like on me, if we're gonna do less work. Yeah, like I live for that. And you know, I've taken a few classes and like done things like, all right, come on, get this like one ab, ow. But then at the same time,
just one.
Just one. Listen, all we need is one to say that we did. But you know, I then fall into this place. I've taken a handful of classes, and the moment I kick my couch, I want to log off, because I realize my circumstances. I realize where we are in time. I realize there are really no updates about where we're trying to go. And I'm so excited in the time that we're in, because the veil has been lifted on the industry. And I'm like, how are we looking at our marathon run into the future? With movement, with musical theater, with companies, with these institutions. So I feel, if anything, art at this point in time has helped me navigate my work as a student, because I feel like sometimes we get really wrapped up in the movement, showing up to audition, showing up, here's my body, look at me. But like losing sight of like, when is the last time you put your nose in a book about the craft that you're trying to make money off of? And which, you know, I'm grateful for, because the beginning of like in January, that's when I kind of like reset myself of like, okay, what pools are you dipping your toes into, and why is it important to you? Why is it that you're working on trying to do these kinds of shows? And now, I feel even more equipped, and I am excited. I am excited as a student, as a forever student, to, you know, to continue to dive in that way. Because I'm like, we have, you know, there's always a comeback. We're okay. Our muscles are so smart. There's such muscle memory, even though we can't, you know, move the way that we want to necessarily in this time. But yeah, art is great. It's always there. And it's helped me. It's helped me significantly in ways that I didn't expect.
Yeah.
I love that you're both dancers. So I am a solid mover.
Hey,
she's amazing.
I need an entire rehearsal period to get looking like everybody else. I cannot do it. Listen, they say dance call to me, and I'm like, why? Why do you not want me to get cast in the show? Like, like that is like a whole world that is very difficult for me. So I keep contemplating these online classes that people are doing for dance and stuff, and I'm just like, I feel too embarrassed to try and do all this, because I don't go to classes in person, you know, again, too embarrassed. I'm like, why would I embarrass myself while I'm paying for it?
Side note, just to call this one out real quick. She says she's a mover, that it takes her this long, but she did when we met doing In the Heights, That's one of our connection, everyone's connection here. But she pretty much did the show in what, like 6-inch stilettos.
Woo!
I don't know how, like her feet were like this
Not
the
whole
entire
show.
She
first
switched
act
back
at
and forth
all.
between about 3 different pairs. Okay. But danced,
That's the
walked,
move.
did everything in them. So
But I
Just
had
wanna
an
say
entire rehearsal period to get to that point. Like I said, it just doesn't, it doesn't go into my brain as like the way that it does other people. So especially when I'm in an audition and like, there's like the level of experience where I don't get, that doesn't come in, right? But then you add on the level of nerves because I know that does not come in, and it makes it so much harder for me to retain dance stuff in a dance call. I'm just like, why are you wasting my time? Let them hear me sing and act first. And then they'll be like, we just love her so much that we don't care if she can't do the dancing like everybody else. So I love that you guys are taking these classes. I keep hoping to be brave enough to take one. And I don't have it in me because I'm too scared.
No, don't be scared.
Mm-mm.
Well, the thing of it is, in that respect, is nobody's watching you. Like, you don't have to be, because you can just be you and nobody's watching you.
I just am always nervous that somehow someone is, and also like, I'm here with my husband and my mom. And like,
well, that makes it.
See what I'm saying?
First,
And I'm
I
just
get that,
like,
for sure.
I'm
That's
just like,
different.
I don't really want you guys to watch me do horribly either.
No,
I like it when
I get that 100%.
Confession.
I live by myself, so I'm like, I can do it naked if I want. Like, it doesn't matter.
I love it.
Yo.
Amanda,
No, I was gonna say, when I was in Connecticut, I took a dance class because my family was there in the bathroom, but only from like here up, because I didn't want anybody to look at me. But I was like, we gonna dance up here. Like, do it. Do it.
I mean, I'm gonna try and like gird my loins and maybe like get it together to take one. Maybe if I take one, I'll feel better about it. I don't know. Okay. I know this is not the same thing, anywhere near the same thing, but I took a yoga class during this time. I had never done yoga because as a plus size lady of small stature, yoga is real hard for me. And so I just am not that bendy. I don't have the kind of space to get as bendy as other people, you know, because I'm short and I'm plump, pleasantly stout, you know, or no, sensually stout. There it is.
sensually stout.
There it is.
Come on.
And so I'm just not as bendy as others. I make up for it in other ways. But like, it's always something that I was like, this is not what you were built for, and that's okay. But I took one, and it was a Zoom yoga class. And so, and it was before I knew that you could like take your video off. So like, it's all these videos of everybody, these, no offense, skinny bitches doing yoga, being bendy, no offense. And like,
It is what it is.
Me trying to do the same thing and not succeeding. And like, I was like, I'm going to cry. And I kept thinking to myself, don't cry in front of these skinny bitches. Don't do it. Don't do it. And so I stopped because I was like, this is emotion. I'm being triggered right now. This is emotionally more than I can take. So I didn't turn off the video. I went into my kitchen. I grabbed some chips. I came back. I set a chair in front of the camera and I just ate chips and watched everybody do yoga. Because I was like, I need something that's going to make me laugh right now or I'm going to cry. So that experience also shut me down to the whole idea of online dance classes. Because I was like, because if it's one of these Zoom classes, no, thank you.
Yeah.
I think. Oh,
no,
go ahead.
No,
I was gonna say, I think that's something that we're all facing that we didn't realize that we have to face. Like, I'm somebody who lives vicariously through the quote by Merce Cunningham of the fleeting moment. This is why I'm a live performer. Because I'm not somebody it's not my first choice to make a video. It's not my, like, those aren't my natural moves. I'm here for the reaction of these people in this moment for this day. So doing, like, there is something traumatizing. I'm co-signing. It's hard. Like, there are moments where you're like, why? Nobody's looking at me, but I see me looking at me, and I am not. I didn't sign up. I signed up for the yoga class, and you signed up for a bunch of other things as well. You know, I'm realizing that's something that's been. It's something I've stepped into and stepped away from at the same time in quarantine.
Yeah.
Which is I don't know. I think that's something that we're like, oh, cameras.
Yeah. That feeling that feeling of pressure, it's interesting. I'm notorious for disappearing, which most people who know me will attest to that. Like, we can spend 8 months together on a contract, and then there will be probably 3 months where you won't see me.
She's talking directly about me.
Everybody.
I was like, where you at, bitch?
Everybody knows me. They know that after we've been together, there's like that 2-month period of like, I'm not on social media. They're like, is she dead? She's probably dead. So knock on wood, hopefully not ever. But I have had that same feeling of wanting to, I mean, I'm a self-proclaimed mover. I'm like, I always get thrown into a dance call and I'm always like, big eye roll, like, okay, let's do it. Let me try and touch my toes real quick. Like, and like before, I think the day that a couple of days before, like even auditions were announced before we knew how big this was, I was like, I don't know what everybody's talking about. I got 3 auditions today. Like I'm definitely that crazy person, you know? But it's been nice, not for me, moving, because I feel like I've focused less on the physical and maybe like the performance aspect, and I've been able to get into my head more, which on the opposite end has been really productive for me. You know, it's like utilizing art for me in a different way. But then oddly enough, being more social because of video than I've ever been. And again, Lillian can attest to that because he's me multiple times a week now. And
multiple times a week. It's wonderful.
My friends say the same thing. But that leads me into answer how you see fit. I know a comment was made about the unveiling, you know, this great unveiling of things, whether it be in politics, the world, our socioeconomic status, racially, and even in our industry. Living in these places that we've been living in, doing this self-work, are there things that, again, recognizing there's lots of turmoil in the world, are there things that you are looking forward to changing? Are there things that you feel empowered to change, whether it be in the industry or the world itself? Or is it, or
even in the scope of your bubble, right? Like things that you're like, this is something that I do not want to continue doing, or this is a habit that I'm going to work right now to get rid of, or even a habit that you're trying to pick up, like, you know, inner bubble, next bubble out. Are there things that you're like, this is what I'm going to change, this is what I'm going to look to do more, this is when
That's so loaded.
I know it's a big question.
That's so loaded. I feel this is where we're at, right? Like, racism has existed forever. The white supremacy in musical theater has existed forever. You know, it's not like any of these things are new. You know, I can, you know, I'm speaking from what I was taught, which I'm trying to decolonize the fuck out of my practice. And that's how I feel. It's been a slow journey for a long time, but realizing how the system has taught me to be like, oh, you know, you're a hardworking Latina, keep your head down, just do good work. Don't make a lot of noise, but keep going so you can get to success. And once you get to success, then you can just shut the whole thing down. Which I removed that and I forsake it in the name of Jesus. Bye. Like, you know what I mean? But feeling like you can't feeling like, you know, for me, I've looked back at every time me and my friends have taken a job and have sucked it up for the check because we needed groceries and to help our mamas, you know, but like the things that we took and heard, and the story, like all of it. Like I'm like, oh my God, I was complacent. I watched things happen. My friends were complacent. They watched things happen to me. Like, and just the whole experience that I've had in musical theater. Granted, it's only been 3 years of being in musical theater. I think, when I first got out of college, I was an Urban Bush Woman, which is a women of color company of Black women, telling the stories of underserved community. So as much concert work, dancing as they were doing organizing.
Yeah.
So that was my entryway into New York. That was my entryway into this community. That was my life. Like I'd say I have a career now because of that company. I am an artist because of them, because they grounded me.
Give me the name again. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna write it down.
Urban Bush Women. They're based in Brooklyn. I'd say this to everybody. I was like, they molded me, and I shifted from the company because I wanted to tap dance more. I wanted, it's a modern dance company, or they do it. But yeah, I shifted from the company because I wanted to tap dance more. I wanted the time, I was fresh. I'd been at 4 years out of college, but I wanted to do other things. And I wanted to, I ended up, you had written this question too about In the Heights. From there I had started and joined a group called Souls of Duende. It's an all-female percussive company, so I do tap dance. There's Aria Rosales, who does flamenco, and Brenda Guja, who does katak, which is classical Indian dance.
Give me the name again, girl.
Souls, SOLES, of Duende. But that's another company I joined. And then, musical theater, I started singing because I wanted to find my voice. I felt like it was the only chakra I didn't touch. And there was a lot of fear there. But it was and granted, I was at a point in my life where I didn't have one. Like I was in a not so healthy relationship, and I was being silenced in ways that I didn't know. But just thinking of that kind of journey and how I entered into musical theater, and now we're actually facing the institutions that hired, I feel like I'm facing the institutions that hired me, and I'm looking at all of them because we had made a contract in the past, there was a past contract there. And I feel like, how do I, my big questions for myself are now, how do I want to move forward? Because there is an established relationship there. I feel like sometimes we're shouting into the echo chamber, but like looking back at the connections and things that we already have, how are we then and it might cost a break in a relationship, and that's what this costs. I think to find the equitable and inclusive, and the power words, but to find the community place that we're fighting for, like the shit gotta break. Everything has to break. I think, one thing I've been doing right now is looking for writers. I'm like, who's writing for us? Like, who's, why is this not that should be a huge part of this conversation. This
I wish I was a better writer. I desperately want to be a better writer. I want to write. Like, there are family stories that I really want to turn into plays and stuff, but I'm such a horrible writer. And so I wish I was better at that. Because I am coming to terms with the same things that you're talking about. It's like, I put my head down and kept going because I was like, if I can get to a place where I have power, then I can change things. And the reality is we have power now. We just have to be willing to sacrifice, right? Like, and not sacrifice in the way that we have been, because we have been sacrificing in the past. Do not get me wrong. Like, I can't tell you how many maids I played. That's a sacrifice just to get myself in the door. I played a maid again and again and again, but no is power. To say no is power. I won't stand for this is power. And our voice, like so I had nodules I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. I had nodules a few years ago. And so vocal health has become a very big thing for me since I had my surgery. And like, one of the things that affects your vocal health is stress and not speaking out, right? Like, not saying what you feel like you need to say. Bottling things up is bad for your voice. And I was like, interesting. So that gives me carte blanche to say what I feel. I mean, I should try to be nice about it because nobody likes you yelling at them, but I should just say. And so that has been very big for me this week. So we're gonna see what happens. What about you, Nina? What is it? Is there anything that you have found that you're like, this is going to be different going forward? Whether it be within the craft itself, whether it be, the kinds of projects that you're looking into, is there been anything that you're like, I'm going to do this differently, or I'm going to bring more of this into my life?
I mean, honestly, I think this is clearly a very interesting time for everyone. It's a time of transformation. It's a time of intense change. So I've been really focusing on really just being present in this moment of education for myself and for the world. So, and I think it's going to keep evolving as we go. I mean, obviously we started with the pandemic and COVID and the trauma of that. And then Black Lives Matter is in the middle. We're in the middle of the throes of that, which needed to happen, which thankfully is happening. And we're not at the end of it. I think this is a moment of evolution. I mean, for us as a human race, for our planet.
Yeah.
So this is like an evolutionary shift. It
absolutely is.
It's so much bigger. And I think we're still in it. We're not through it. And we're going to keep evolving. It's going to keep uncovering more and more. So I'm still in the place, to be honest, of just connecting to myself and listening and doing the work on myself that I need to do in the present moment. And that involves educating myself. It involves having conversations with people. It involves looking at myself, my history, my upbringing, my life, my conditioning, looking at what of it works, what do I need to let go of? And then asking myself, who am I now moving forward, right? So I'm really in this place of self-discovery on so many levels.
Yeah.
So I can't really say that I jump forward to this forward end date.
Of course.
That's sort of like, this is what I will now do a year from now, a year and a half from now, let's say. I think that I'm going to stay in the present for a while because I think I'm more interested in the evolution of where can this go? I think as soon as I make a decision in the future, for me personally, I'm not in the learning place as much anymore, if that makes sense. Like, I just kind of want to stay in this like open sort of, what's my calling here?
Yeah.
What's my calling moving forward? That being said, I mean, I think it's going to change our industry. It's going to change the majority of us as performers. It's going to change the people behind the table. It's going to change the kind of work that's being created. And I've always adapted. And been someone who adapts within the industry, and I'm always questioning myself. I'm always changing things up. And so we'll see. I don't really know. And I'm okay with the not knowing.
Yeah.
I think we're all, I mean, I'm going to get super woo-woo, and that's okay.
So, yeah.
We're okay. You're talking to Bruja over here, so woo-woo away.
So, great. I mean, listen, I'm okay with the not knowing right now. I think it's great that we're asking the questions. It's great that we're having the conversations. They've needed to have been happening for years. Yeah. I completely agree with or know the feeling of not speaking out myself. I felt like that like that most of my life. Like I haven't been able to fully express who I am, for various reasons. So for me, it's a time of being able to be okay with that and speak up for myself and all that I believe in. And I think, I mean, I definitely want to continue to do work with people that are conscious, people that are woke, you know. I just don't think there's a place. I don't think there's going to be a place anymore in our industry for people that aren't conscious and just open and accepting of all genders, sexual orientation, race. I don't think there's going to be a place for anyone that isn't having those conversations anymore. So I think it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's just like, I mean, that's the transition that we're in. That's like the big question of how are these relationships going to change? And it's I think that's an important thing to point out for everybody, is that the personal work is part of the journey for all of us. We have to focus on ourselves as individuals in order to help bring about this change that we want. You know, I'm working on a project with Milwaukee Rep right now, and John Rue is choreographing. And honestly, all of our meetings, especially even with like the cast people, we've just been having conversation, because right now that is what's moving us forward as an entity, as a community, as the human race. Without you know, without that conversation, even our actions, they can't be grounded in the way that they need to. So I think that that's a really beautiful thing, and I hope everyone is listening.
Yeah.
Ask yourself those questions. Ask them, even if they scare you, ask them.
And they're hard. The answers are hard, and you kind of have to come to terms with them. You know, you have to be like, I have been wrong. I have been complacent. I have been silent. I have been, you know, like, so, and reparations must be made.
And paid, like made and paid, like it you know,
So ladies, we're coming close on time here, so I'm gonna reel us in a different direction. Both of you, so as we all know, everybody who's on this show right now, who knows, in the future it might change, but right now is in the Heights familia. Yes. So tell us, how did in the Heights come into your life? You know, when was it? How was it? And how do you feel like it has changed your life? Anyone?
Can I go?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. When I saw the show for the first time, I cried and I cried and I cried. Also, it was the first Broadway show that my grandmother had ever seen. And I was sitting next to her, and I've never seen her so happy. She was like, I was a mess. I was a mess already, because as a kid, I was a mess. Anytime I saw anybody dead, I'd be like, look at God. Wow.
I'm going to cry just thinking about that. I'm going to cry just thinking about it. Oof.
Oh my God. And you know, we all know the first time you see somebody who looks like you, sounds like you on stage, it's like a little bit of the door of heaven opened. You're like, I can do this. Like, wow, you know, screaming. I remember the excitement. That was the first time I was ever introduced to the show. And then I had taken Julio Agustin. He had an acting workshop. He had an acting workshop that I had gone to, and like I was just being a witness, because it was, you know, they were doing scenes and singing songs, and I was like, I don't sing, I don't have a book. And it was the beginning. That at that point, when I had gone to that workshop, I had started singing for myself. You know, Martin Sola was my first official vocal coach, and when I tell you, I paid that man to let me cry. I paid that man to let me cry, and God knows, I pray for that. I'm just like, thank you for his patience. But yeah, no. So Julio was like, yeah, I helped him with an audition. We were doing it at Diva. And he was like, yeah, no, help me with this audition. So I assisted him as, dancing in the audition. And they were like, oh yeah, you're going to do the show, right? I was like, oh my God, I lost it. I was so excited. I couldn't get my life together. But yeah, that's how it happened. And I'm also really, really blessed and privileged because that's how I got my equity card.
Hey, congrats.
And I've been shot out of a cannon ever since. But I'm grateful for that experience in my life. And then, to be in a room with other Latinos doing this thing as the first job that I ever had in musical theater.
That's dope.
That's wow. I'm gonna hold my phone now because I dropped it and I don't think it's gonna stand the way that it was.
What about you, Nina?
Well, so in the Heights, I'll start from, okay, so I auditioned for the show.
Uh-huh.
At the time, no one knew about it, really. Mm-hmm. No one knew much about it. And I went to the audition. It was, at that time, all I knew was that it was this new show with this new creative team that nobody knew. And it was going to be some sort of a workshop kind of thing. And hopefully it would have an off-Broadway run.
Yeah.
And so I went to the audition, and it was honestly one of the most memorable auditions in my career so far. And I got it, and I was, the day of the audition, I could go into it, but it's, more of a story, but it was amazing. I was like, same. I walked in the room and to see people that were young and Latino, and my mind was blown just from the moment I walked in, before I even saw the choreography, before I even heard the music for the first time. And the music it was like off the demo of the showcase they did. It was like nothing even super official, but like I walked out of there high, like I have to do this. Like my life, like my life has meaning. I have to, whatever. Yeah. So, when I found out I got the job, I was like, ecstatic and losing my mind. So I did the workshop, which was really just a dance workshop with Andy Blankenbuehler for, I think it was like a week or two. And it was really just to begin to skeleton out some of these numbers. Mm-hmm. And then that was over. And then I did a lot of pre-production with other dancers, and John Ruo was one of them. Lots of my very dear friends and family, Luis. We all did a lot of pre-production for a while with Andy, which was like the most incredible experience. And then I did the entire off-Broadway run of the show. And then I opened it on Broadway and did the Broadway run of the show. And I was, I understudied. I had my role in the show. I also understudied and went on many times. And the show was a huge chapter of my life. I could certainly write a book about it. We don't got that kind of time, I'm sure. But
I know we're like we're trying to get it all with. And you're like, an hour is not enough.
I know, 2 minutes in it. No, I'm trying to be like, okay, bullet points, both. No, but I will say that's the general arc of, the timeline of the show for me. But the show, like I said, I could write a book about how much the show means to me. On so many levels. It's the first time I got to do anything like that. It's the first time I can't even say I got to see anything like that, because I was in it, and I was, before that moment, I had never seen anything like it. I didn't realize, the blessing to me was the experience of being in it and creating it and not having any clue what it would become, what it would be, how it would impact so many people. And, you know, I mean, it's one of the greatest experiences I've had professionally in my life so far. And I mean, the show has changed my life as a performer, as a dancer, as a singer, as an actor. Many people that are my chosen family to this day are from that show. In many ways, it was a personal moment of growth for me. It was definitely like a divine intervention in my life, for sure. So, yeah.
I love it. And now we are all connected.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah, I listening to both of you talk about it, I felt myself get emotional. I'm just thinking about, there were two things in particular with Amanda. It was the moment of talking about your grandma, because having my mom see the show for the first time was, I mean, my whole heart, my whole soul, like thinking about her experience of it, like was so amazing, because the first time she was seeing it, it was the first time that I did it, which is not the time that I did it with Alyssa. It was a different production. And with Nina, it's that experience of, so I was definitely one of those people who was like, oh, if you get, you know, mostly, if you're doing West Side Story and you have mostly people, Latinx people as your sharks, it's okay if you slip in a few white people here and there, you know, that's okay. I was definitely there. I was, you know, admittedly, and it wasn't until In the Heights and that I realized, not even in that first one, but in the one that I did with Alyssa, that I realized the difference that seeing yourself makes, and not just seeing yourself, but fully seeing yourself, not having a few people here and there that are like faking it. That was a journey for me of going, I didn't realize how important it was because I had never seen it. You know what I mean? Like I had never had that experience of seeing myself on stage that way. So I didn't understand the importance of it until then. So you guys are making me so emotional.
Yes, and we'll talk to more of that. Hopefully that this is, you know, that was the beginning, and with everything that's going on, hopefully that's part of the catalyst, you know, all these new writers, all these new musicians, all these new music directors, you know, yeah.
Let's go.
Right, let's do it.
Let's go.
Before we head out, are there any organizations that either of you want to shout out for viewers to support, get more information on, anything like that?
Any projects that you're working on that you want people to keep an eye out for, anything like that?
I mean, I'll just say real quick that I love BCEFA. I love Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. I mean, it's a huge organization that many people know about. But my mind goes to them because, I mean, not only are they a huge organization that helps, you know, people suffering from HIV and AIDS, that they've been around and they've done such incredible work over the years, providing meals and medication and financial assistance to people that are suffering. But they are also an umbrella that they give so much to other organizations as well that they believe in. You know, they just recently gave, I think, $125,000 to different social justice organizations. They also gave $5 million to the Actors Fund for COVID assistance.
God bless the Actors Fund,
actors.
Man.
But, you know, so I just feel like, and I personally have worked with them for many, many years. And I just think they're an incredible organization with amazing people that are just helping so many different causes and people that need help. So, I mean, that's one that comes to mind for me.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
I got like a baby handful. Okay, a baby handful. First, Wise Fruit NYC. It's run and curated by Brenda Guha. It is a dance. It started off as a dance concert that all proceeds went to Planned Parenthood, and now she has shifted its focus, and she just did one online, and all the proceeds have gone to Sue Rock, who runs a domestic violence center in New York. But she's also doing a lot of anti-racism work. There are goals every day that she's putting out, and it's just a great organization to be a part of, to find new artists, to find people in your community. So Wise Fruit NYC. Another organization that I have them written down, I'm looking. The other institution that I want to talk about is Tap Family Reunion, run by Jason Samuel Smith, Elka, Sormisha Sombri Edwards, and Derek Grant, literally upholding the history and the legacy of tap dance. It's all over musical theater, but probably most people don't know a handful about its origins, because talking is hard. But yeah, Tap Family Reunion, they post these all the time. And the last thing that I want to shout out is People's Institute for Survival and Beyond. They have been around for generations of doing anti-racism work. And we are trained by them as Urban Bush Women, as company members, and Urban Bush Women does a Summer Leadership Institute in collaboration with JUNEBUG Productions from New Orleans and People's Institute for Survival and Beyond. And I will text all of this to you because this is a lot of information.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah. And then just a shout out, like, support your community, support your Black community, support your artist friends. Like, it's so easy. Like, and this is the call. Don't be scared, y'all.
And I've said it time and again. If you've got like 10 extra bucks, I've said 20 before. If you have 10 extra dollars, send 2 over here, send 2 over there. You would be amazed what we can get to by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2.
Yo,
you would be amazed.
for real.
If you got those 10 extra that you were like, what am I going to do with this 10 extra? I can't go to the movies. Not that you can afford the movies in New York for $10, but.
Or Starbucks. Hello.
Or Starbucks. You know what? Like, just be like, I don't need that Starbucks today. Send it over here. Send it over here. Little by little, we get where we need to go.
Yeah, man. Listen to Black women. I was like, let's go. Let's go.
Ladies.
Like, those are my calls.
Thank you for coming on Café Con Leche.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Dreams.
Amazing, intelligent, strong women. Thank you.
Oh
Let's
my
go.
God. Yeah. And thank you all for tuning in. And we hope that you always have your café exactly the way you like it. Bye-bye.